You're listening to the Renegade Blitz. Follow us on Twitter at Renegade Blitz, at @RBlitzPod, and at Blitz Videos. And subscribe to our podcast on your favorite podcast app.
And welcome back to the Renegade Blitz podcast. I'm Ty Polk with Chris Ward. Brandon Walker currently having Wi-Fi issues. He should join us when he can. If not, it's all good. I mean, it's the post-Super Bowl podcast. And Chris, as a guy from Allentown who's not a fan of the Eagles, this was obviously a great Super Bowl for you. Final was Chiefs 38, Eagles 35. Thoughts on the Super Bowl?
Oh yeah, I mean, I don't have really any issue with the players. It's just the fan base. I mean, you saw the videos going on online where Eagle fans were flipping a car over or something. I just the fan base is always, and then the media. I mean, that was a rough call at the end, but I know they've been whining all throughout the league about it and everything. But it was a good Super Bowl. It was one of probably the better ones that I've watched. Where would you rank it among all the Super Bowls?
The ending. I wish the ending was way better.
It was a tough call. I mean, he did. Bradbury did get a piece of Juju Smith-Schuster's jersey, but I mean, I saw Ben Roethlisberger said that stuff like that happens on every play, and it does. And it was a weak call. So, but it came in a crucial time. But I still don't think that was the reason why the Eagles lost. I mean, their vaunted defensive line, who recorded 78 sacks this whole entire season, including the playoffs, they were shut out by the Chiefs' offensive line. So, I think that was the main story. As great as Jalen Hurts played, he gave them 7 points when he fumbled the ball and the Chiefs returned for a touchdown. That, and then the Toney longest punt return in Super Bowl history really set up another score for the Chiefs in the fourth quarter. So that's 14 points right there. Eagles dominated the time of possession and everything, but and the Chiefs just had the ball last, and McKinnon, instead of going into the end zone, he just slid down at the 1 yard line or whatever it was, short of the end zone, and then they kicked the field goal and won. And it was like one of those games, like a Madden. You know how when you play Madden and it's the last person that has the ball wins the game. Sometimes that's what the game reminded me of.
But I know for a fact that if you get that opportunity to walk into the end zone, you're going to walk into the end zone in Madden.
I played I had some friends that they would do that, where they would
straddle the goal line and basically just try to take off as much time.
Yeah, they would stall you and do stuff like that, and kick a game-winning field goal. That's kind of what happened there with the Eagles. I mean, I know, during the game, I was texting you guys how the Chiefs cornerbacks, they were getting beat. Really, Devontae Smith, AJ Brown were really working them. But that was the big concern going into the game, because the Chiefs have a young secondary. But the Eagles, Andy Reid really he went to work there in the fourth quarter. Those 2 touchdowns wide open, the same plays, it's just different sides. Mahomes and Andy Reid's experience really showed there late in the game.
Yeah, but you were doubting them in the group chat. I was saying, you can never count out.
I was getting worried towards at the end of halftime when Mahomes got injured, and the Chiefs defense was really struggling and stuff. And the Eagles went into halftime with a 24-14 lead, which usually in Super Bowl, when you have a double-digit lead going into halftime, usually the teams that are winning usually win. And they kind of collapsed there in the second half. Just a lot of mistakes there. The Chiefs pretty much were flawless. I don't think they had any penalties or any, they were moving the ball offensively. I think Mahomes only had one incompletion. It was a throwaway pass too. So they just whatever happened during that 29-minute halftime or whatever, they really made halftime adjustments. It came out clicking on all cylinders.
Yeah, you can't have a team score on 10 possessions.
Yeah.
In this league, especially a team like Kansas City, no matter how porous their offense is at one point in the game, that'll kill you every single time. But also with the defensive line, one thing, the groundskeeper for the Super Bowl, that was his final Super Bowl, and I would, if I were him, I'd probably try to say, let's go one more year after that, because that wasn't a good night. That wasn't a good night for him. But what doesn't help him is that next year's Super Bowl is in a similar stadium that was actually inspired by by State Farm Stadium and Allegiant Stadium. They have the rollout grass as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, people were saying that it was the paint, especially whenever they have the painted logos over towards the 25s.
Yeah.
So that was where a lot of the slippage happened. But of course, traction with a defensive line, especially when it's the end all be all for Philadelphia. I mean, their linebackers don't really rush. It's all based on them rushing those forward defensive linemen. So if they can't keep themselves upright on the grass, obviously you're going to have trouble. But also, Kansas City couldn't really get to the quarterback either, outside of Bolton's fumble return, and he also had another one that was called back. But not even Chris Jones and the rest of that, and Frank Clark and all that defense was able to do anything. So it was on both sides, really, with it. And credit to the Eagles. I know you don't like the fan base. They're allowed to make the excuses, and all credit to Philadelphia. All their players said there's no excuse for it. Even James Bradbury, he could have very easily just went quietly into the night and say, yeah, that was a bad call. But he stand up and went for it. So there's a lot of things you have to respect about this Eagles team.
I guess we could segue into you talk about Bradbury, we could talk about the Juju Smith-Schuster Valentine's Day meme shot at Bradbury that really didn't sit well with a lot of Eagles players, and really a lot of players across the league thought it was kind of lame, really, the word that A.J. Brown put it as.
I mean, that's just the life and times of Juju Smith-Schuster, painfully whack at times, But yeah, as we finally have Brandon Walker join into it, he had some Wi-Fi issues. Brandon, we were about to go segue into the Juju Smith-Schuster tweet and stuff like that, but we want to make sure that we get your thoughts on this Super Bowl first.
I think that was the best Super Bowl played since probably the Steelers' last Super Bowl. The Steelers' last Super Bowl win.
Well, what about the Patriots Falcons game?
Yeah.
I like the comeback, but I like back and forth action.
Patriots Seahawks.
Oh, I like that
in the same building.
Yeah, that was a good one, but I saw the game and I had made my tweets. And A.J. Brown, beast. You had playmakers all over the field, and it should disgust you as Steeler fans that. Wow, people making plays in space, explosive plays, splash plays. And it's just the fact that hopefully the Steelers can find a way to get that done one of these years. Because the way they're doing it ain't working.
Yeah, that was a big takeaway from the game, just how far the Steelers are offensively. You see Andy Reid, what he's doing. Eagles offensive coordinator now the head coach. Both their coordinators got head coaches.
Yeah. Even remember the last time a defense got shellacked like this, and then suddenly the defensive coordinator gets a job in this league.
Matt Patricia.
Yeah, I just don't like that follow up. You hope that it's more like Sirianni in a situation where this dude was just painfully awkward in his first interview, but he turns out to be a pretty good head coach.
Yeah, I mean, he shocked me pretty much. He still does some things sometimes. He still does some things that I think they're kind of a little bit amateur hour, a little bit
crying on the sideline
during the national anthem. Like I seen that.
Not so much.
He's not the greatest national anthem crier. That title belongs to No Sean Marino.
I mean that part was like whatever, but like some of the things he does on the sidelines where like I don't know if you saw the video of him pointing or I don't know what he was doing. I don't know if he was flipping someone off, but Jalen Hurts actually whacked his arm away and stuff, and then he just like smiled at him. So he just he does some like just things there sometimes amateur hour.
Yeah. People say that Mike Tomlin's a cheerleader on the sideline. I hope he never gets that. I hope he never gets that mark in Philadelphia because they'll just murder him.
Well,
Wish him nothing but success.
when the Eagles barely beat the Colts this year,
Yeah.
Sirianni went over.
You know what? Yeah.
He went over to like the fans or something and was like saying stuff or whatever.
Here's the thing. Yeah, they barely beat the Colts. They barely beat a lot of teams. They had some luck going into this Super Bowl. They were good, but they caught breaks along the way. So we'll see how hard it is coming back. And now you got to pay Hurts a year earlier than you usually do because he's a second-round pick.
Hurts, he really impressed me in that game. I mean, he was throwing dimes out there where his ball location and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, the Eagles have a really good team. I mean, they could their offensive lines are great. I mean, they could be back. I mean, the Chiefs are just Mahomes is just so good. I mean, Travis Kelce. I mean, they're loaded.
Juju, but yeah, like Pacheco from.
That's one of my like favorite non-Steelers players.
You can tell. Like,
I love the way he runs the ball.
Yeah, like bruh, you could tell they just didn't give a f about Tyreek Hill. They just gave this dude the number 10. Usually, somebody just leaves.
Yeah, they really did.
Like that, they wait for a while and they get no. He just said, "You get 10."
I don't know about that because I'm pretty sure the Steelers organization felt some way about Marquise Pouncey.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. They just
gave his number away the next year, and this dude's probably not gonna have another start on this team again. But
bruh, he was inactive for every game.
After starting every game as a rookie.
Yes, after starting every game, he's inactive every week. I was like, oh.
Yeah, that's your new whipping boy. No, 2 numbers off of your current whipping boy.
Hey! When I was speaking of you, when I made that tweet at the Browns game, about Devin Bush being a future Pittsburgh Mauler, I was just half ribbing it. I was gonna say to go along with Kendrick Green. He has the look of a future Pittsburgh Mauler because he ain't playing for the steal. He ain't stealing material at all.
Yeah, they biffed that guy hard. But let's now get back into what we were talking about while we were waiting for you to come in here, and that's the Juju Smith-Schuster tweet storm after that. Of course, because yesterday was Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day to you and yours, by the way. He mentioned he has James Bradbury in it. And I wanted to know, did you guys also see in the tweet from Bradbury that he deleted afterwards that says that he added Eli Apple saying, I see why you do what you do. And I'm just like, James, I would never want to be in the same stratosphere as Eli Apple. Even whenever I play flag football, I don't want to be in the same stratosphere of Eli Apple.
Is he saying that he holds a lot?
No, that he understands why he talks so much crap.
Oh, you talking about Juju?
No, I'm talking about Bradbury with Apple, but Juju,
he really caught a lot of that. Triggered a lot of Eagles players. Yeah, mostly Eagles
fans. I could show you something right there. I got this tweet from Jay Larkey tweets, Juju Smith-Schuster's NFL career may have just ended from a Valentine's Day tweet at age 26. He caught 111 balls for 1,426 yards at age 22. Now look, I'm all for dragging a man after a bad tweet, which objectively for Juju Smith-Schuster, it wasn't exactly the most sportsmanlike out there.
Yeah, come on,
the dude had 78 catches for 900 yards in Kansas City's offense, and he's still, if there's still one thing you can say about him, if you need a tough catch, Juju Smith-Schuster can do that. And in this league, if you can make tough catches, you're going to be in this league for as long as you want.
Yes, he will. And plus, he's going to be back with the Chiefs next year. Why not?
Has to be. He'd be dumb. Unless someone throws an impressive bag at him.
Very impressive.
Not to.
Like, bruh, like he escaped the quagmire of mediocrity, which is the Pittsburgh Steelers, and that was a win. I know I got on him last year because I made a regrettable comment that's saying the only reason why he came back last year, 2021, because he wanted to be part of the he missed those people on the south side, those co-eds. But seriously, he's one of the toughest receivers in the league. He balled out. He played hurt. Like, he deserves it. And I think just people in Pennsylvania just want to drag Juju for no reason. Because, I don't know, jealousy that he left. And, oh, yeah, Antonio Brown got a ring, too.
So not only the guy that got ripped got the ring, the guy who started the ripping got a ring first.
Yeah.
And then the guy that got ripped got one as well. I mean, it's a lot of stuff. And plus, when you take a look at Juju Smith-Schuster, Travis Kelce had 6 receptions for 81 yards. Smith-Schuster, 7 for 53.
Yes.
Now, as far as I'm concerned, if he caught the ball more than anyone else for Kansas City, and if I take a look over on the receiving side, he caught it just as much as Devontae Smith.
Yep.
So this guy clearly is a part of this Kansas City offense.
Yeah.
I mean, I give him a lot of credit. Before he made this tweet, and then like just when you think Juju Smith-Schuster just turned the corner, and like he's like showing like he's some maturity or whatever. I mean, it was a joke or whatever, but
yeah, Juju going Juju. Juju's always going to look at that.
I agree with AJ Brown. It was pretty lame. Like Bradbury already admitted that he held him. Like I think it would kind of be different if Bradbury was like, I didn't hold him. The NFL's rigged or something. It would kind of be like,
what is he supposed to say? Really, what is he really supposed to say? I mean,
he could have said that. He could have said that he didn't hold him.
He could have said that, but he wanted to.
He could have said that I've done that exact move in so many different times where that wasn't a flag. Why was that a flag now? Especially at that point in the game. It would have made him. It would have at least somewhat validated the tweet from Smith-Schuster, but it also wouldn't have made Bradbury look like he was admitting, I held. That was the wrong play.
Yeah. So basically, Juju was kicking someone while they're already down. He won the Super Bowl. It's kind of like,
and it's not Eli Apple, so that's the one thing.
Yeah. So and then AJ Brown, he roasted him, but it was funny how the Eagles, they treated him like he was like a straight bum, like saying like you were almost out of the league. And then,
that was AJ. Yeah, was he almost? No, he wasn't almost.
CJ
he was never. He was never going to be out of the league. He could have left for the same situation a year before if he wanted to.
Right.
He was hurt. He was hurt playing in a playoff game. If you show moxie, you're going to have a job in this league.
Right.
Again, I'm going to. It sounds like I'm repeating myself, but you could say that he probably is better suited to be a tight end than a wide receiver.
Mm-hmm.
He just doesn't have the body, so that's why he's playing as a slot receiver in this league.
Right.
But when he gets the ball thrown to him, more often than not, he's gonna fight forward. Yeah. He's gonna fight forward. He's gonna fall forward like he's a running back.
Unlike he plays hard. He falls forward and goes north and south, unlike other receivers that we have in this town.
East and west and south.
Well, whatever.
Not north.
Well, he goes forward. He will move forward with the ball, unlike other receivers that play in the town that we live in. He shows heart. He shows desire. He shows wit, unlike other people who will no longer be a part of this town. And and Juju could be on my team anytime. Just stop doing that dumb stuff.
No, you're just gonna have to deal with that.
I mean, so keep it down to a minimum and stop. But I love him. He has his head in the game when he needs to, when the ball kicks off, and not his head up his rear end.
Yeah. And that's all you really want to, because everything that he does off the field, you could probably deal with it too, because it's just childish.
Yeah.
Really.
But this is what C.J. Gardner-Johnson tweeted but deleted. He was like, Juju talk a lot for a guy who ain't productive, for real, for real. AB made you look amazing. After that, you've been toilet water. Wait, let me put at stamp on it. And
you know what?
He ended up deleting it anyway.
Like, bro, like, don't hate because you lose. Because if they won the game, y'all wouldn't be taught. This is sour grapes to me.
Pretty much, it's just
like you be classy like a Jalen Hurts, like Bradbury, like you just handle it with class.
initially.
Well, handle it like Jalen Hurts. Handle the loss like Jalen Hurts. He answered the questions. He ain't tweeting out no bull jive. Like, I'm tired of him.
Jason Kelsey as well.
Oh, you mean he handled it with class? Oh, yeah, because he lost to his brother. So,
I mean, hey, they dropped the podcast earlier this morning that was really good as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, plus, I wanted to tell you something. There's been a lot of copyright infringement on me because a certain person is stealing my style. A podcast around here, a famous podcast, new podcast.
Who is this?
You know who he is.
Wow, this is news to me, man.
Number 7.
What?
Number 7.
Damn, what did he do? He was wearing the hat?
Of course. Where do you get that?
Yeah, everyone's stealing the hat, man. Everyone.
I'm like, bro, like
I thought he was wearing
the hat.
I thought he was wearing a different type of hat. I thought he was wearing
I thought he wore trucker hats. Like
he was like wearing a trucker hat. I thought.
Well, still, I had a hat.
You have a fedora.
Yeah, well, I have that too. I have that one hat that was there. I wore it at one game.
Ben, the only thing I saw from Ben's podcast was him talking about how he didn't agree with the call about he thought it was a weak call in the hold on.
Oh yeah, I don't care about all that. He stole the hat.
Yeah. He had
you know what? Yeah, Highsmith, I guess. So, what do you guys really think about Highsmith? Because you know he's about to get a bag. Since we're going to be talking about, since the Super Bowl is what it is, it's over.
I'll put it to you like this:
what's going on?
If it's going to be, I hope he gets the bag, and I hope he's a good player. Because if not, I said this in private conversations. I'm just going to let it out on the podcast. People are going to drag him and his family, much like how they did Devin Bush.
If he starts struggling, like a cash in and check out situation, just like, you know what? LaMarr Woodley did that too. Another number 56. If you remember.
LaMarr Woodley at least gave this team about 3 or 4 good years.
Yeah, he did. And he got money. When he got the money, he was never the same.
Yeah.
He wasn't the same. He wasn't the same player.
Hall of Fame trajectory, but once he got the bag, it was a wrap.
Yeah, it was. And I think that might happen to Highsmith. Yeah, because you think he's going to get dragged like Bush?
No, I think that there's a possibility that he could. I think he has his head on straight where that would never be an issue, but you just never know in this situation.
It's probably, you know why? You know, like I said before in the podcast, we started dragging Bush. Chris started a little bit before. Chris was first. I was second after you already know what happened.
Yeah.
But I will just say the flashpoint of Devin Bush's career in Pittsburgh was when his dad went on 93.7 The Fan and argued with Paul Zeiss. Because, like I said this, And plus, I want to. No, let's switch it. I don't want to talk about this dude anymore. I'm gonna try to stop talking about.
He's like irrelevant now.
He is.
He really is. I brought him up.
Really,
That's my fault.
Try to, but let's switch gear. What about Terry Bradshaw?
What about him?
Did you see him on after the game on?
Yeah, he's been terrible for a while now. He needs to retire.
Yeah, he does need to.
He's on my long list. He's on my long list of old people in the 70s or 80 range who just need to give it up and retire. Same thing goes for Chris Berman. It's just ridiculous.
Berman, they hide him on ESPN Plus, and I don't have Plus, so I can't be the guy for that.
Did you guys hear about his latest controversy?
What did he say?
He said something that was kind of like, it was kind of cringe about. He was talking about how Hurts and Mahomes was the first Super Bowl with two black quarterbacks, and he mentioned that it was also Abraham Lincoln's like birthday or something like that. Yeah, it was pretty cringe.
Yeah, but what he said, but Terry Bradshaw was like, "Wall yourself over here. Are you gonna retire?"
Bradshaw
get a cheeseburger. Like,
what? He made a joke about him dying on Fox or something like that.
I know, like, you know what? Is it because 93.7? I'm like, they were dragging him and talking about. I'm like, no wonder I was like, dang, he didn't come back. They've been dragging him in the 70s and 80s. These Steeler fans and media. Glad to see that hasn't changed.
I have a love-hate relationship with Bradshaw where I like him sometimes and other times I think he has like a whole like a shtick like with his whole like media thing, and it's really old now.
Yeah, but what does he bring to the game in 2023? Like
I will say this. I will say this. There was a bunch of guys on the old NFL today that I thought they gave up too quickly on. Tony Gonzalez. I still think Shannon Sharp could be a good football analyst. I just want him away from Skip Bayless. What
about Dan Marino? They got rid of Dan Marino.
Dan Marino, I don't. Maybe it's because I'm looking back on it with fonder terms. Like Dan Marino was good. I just felt that they kind of like they kind of did the thing in which you push him out maybe a little too early. You know what I mean?
Yeah, before that. But they hit a home run with Nate Burleson.
Yeah.
Burleson is half the reason my hair kind of looks like this. Like I like his style. I like his style and everything he does. And really even their group right now is good. I think if anything I'd probably try to see who would you move out of that group. I have the tough time.
They love Bill Cowher, I know.
Yeah.
Man, but Bill Cowher just needs to stop criticizing people like Saturday. That's the only thing. That's the only time when I told him.
Probably Boomer Esiason or Phil Simms. Probably I don't know.
Yeah, Phil Simms is.
Phil Simms kind of got pushed out because of Tony Romo.
Yeah.
Man, I want Romo right now. I want Simms back because he knows what he's bland, but he knows what he's talking about. He was always on point.
I would love to have Simms back in a booth somewhere. Maybe when ABC starts commanding more of the games, he could come back on.
Yeah,
I honestly think he would probably be someone that would liven up the booth with Al Michaels, and I'm pretty sure that CBS would still keep.
You know what? You know who'd be good at liven it up? Greg Olsen with Al Michaels. That'd be a good combination.
Yeah, he's already. Well, I don't know if you heard it. Tom Brady's not taking the Fox. There's rumors that Tom Brady's not taking the Fox job just yet.
Yeah, I think it's 2024. He told Colin Cowherd. I think he's taking a year off, and then he's. I don't know how Brady's going to be in that role. To be honest, like I know he obviously knows a ton about football, but I never really got him as like being like a good personality for it. I don't know.
He struck me as someone that would have went to Hollywood.
Yeah.
Right. Well, yeah, but then again, if you think about it, Tampa brought out his personality.
Yeah, he always had Twitter brought out his personality.
Yeah, because Tom was
Twitter in general did. But way before Tampa. He was doing that in New England.
What do you think he's going to be? Do you think he's going to be like Romo, or is he going to be – he's obviously not going to be this like like hyper, like, freaking out about stuff that like probably just shouldn't be that,
I don't know how it would be with him. I think he would do his due diligence. I don't know. I feel like it's going to be a short trip for him until further notice.
Yeah, that's what they were saying about Roma. They said that he got lazy this year. He wasn't doing his homework.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
A lot of things with that, but we'll wrap it up with one more thing. John Mitchell, the longtime Steelers assistant coach and defensive line coach, his retirement was announced today. It was 29 years of service for him, and when you think back, we mentioned a little bit about the Steelers' defensive lines a few times and how great they've been. A lot of people, Aaron Smith, really a lot of his development as a 3-4 defensive end was because of John Mitchell. And then you think of Casey Hampton, Brett Kiesel, the Tuitts, the Haywards, so many players really, maybe even
Joel Steed
into today. Yeah.
Joel Steed, because he was in the Super Bowl in '95. Who was their starting D line? Joel Steed. Come on, Chris, you should know this stuff. Who are their defensive? Princeton Buckner and who's a coach now himself. And I forget who it is. I think it's Seals or something like that, if I'm not correct. But Godspeed to him. He did his thing. A big part of like the Cowher era and Tomlin. So you just got to give that man respect. And he's the first. And he also, I give this man the respect. He's the first black player to play for Bear Bryant at Alabama.
Mm-hmm. I think he was I read he was the first black defensive coordinator at LSU or SEC, I think.
SEC, yes.
Yeah, so he coached with Bill Belichick in Cleveland, and then after he was done there, he went with Cowher, and he just stuck with the Steelers ever since. And Tomlin, those great defensive like Casey Hampton, Aaron Smith, Brett Kiesel, Coach Cam Hayward. I saw even Javon Hargrave said something on Twitter about giving some props and everything, praise to Mitchell about his retirement.
Yeah, nice guy too.
Yeah, definitely.
You have an opportunity to speak to him a little bit, or
nah? Because I didn't get because I see some of the coaches in passing, but not. I see them, but I just didn't get to talk to them like because they're both mainly in that back room after games. The closest, so it's just. It's so unfortunate that it's not unfortunate, but we got to figure out how to get another good coach on the defensive side. So you lose him and you lose Flores, and this time this ain't no retirement. You know how the Steelers operate. This is a legitimate retirement, well earned, well received.
Yeah. Speaking of Flores, he had his press conference with the Vikings today, and they asked him about why he pulled out of the Arizona head coaching search, and he said that it was like a gut feeling. So I guess whatever that. I read that he didn't want to miss out on this defense coordinator position if like he just didn't move and make a decision.
Yeah, because somebody else would have got hired. He would have waited for that job, and then he would have been stuck all over
the Steelers.
He'll be back
which
with
would
the
have been
Steelers.
great for us, but yeah, but
So
but
Brandon,
you can't really.
Bieniemy, what's going to be? Is he going to be the Commander's OC, and why is he keep on getting passed on?
He probably doesn't interview well.
Is that what
for
it
one?
is?
For the second one, he probably is not interviewing well. Availability, they're always making soup. They're always like seemingly in the Super Bowl every year. That doesn't help. And for this former question, I hope he does because we'll see how his offenses are because the other offensive coordinator, what the hell? Like, because I think it's nepotism. The only reason why he's getting that because he's North Turner's son. And plus, how that's the whole system in how he would do. I think he would do wonders with Sam Howell, who I think is going to wind up being the starting quarterback for the Commanders, and I think he'll do well. He has some dog in him. He reminds me. He's a little bit thicker version of Pickett.
And like I think people are like, oh, like Andy Reid calls the plays there, so like they're like disregarding everything that Bieniemy does. So if he gets a chance,
he definitely is involved in all that stuff. Like he's involved in situational stuff like that. He's not just sitting there counting his checks.
Yeah. If you look like on the sidelines, like he's always next to Andy Reid, so it's like they work hand in hand. So I don't I don't know. I thought he would have got a job by now for sure, but
yeah.
I mean, I wish he was the Steelers' offensive coordinator, but that's what a lot of people are trying to get themselves to get into. But let's just be 100% real with you. It's not happening. It's
next
not
year
happening.
It'll happen next year.
Next year, what? So what? Bieniemy hangs on one more year and becomes the offensive coordinator of the Steelers, or he actually.
No,
or he finally
breaks
into the.
I'm talking about Matt Canada getting fired.
Oh
yeah, they'll do the his contract expired and we're gonna hire Byron Leftwich now or something. So they're just gonna waste this entire year or something.
Basically, they wait. They're gonna waste it going 9-8. That's what the record's gonna be next year. 9-8.
9-8.
9-8. Well, we'll talk more about that over the course of it because we have officially reached the off season now. So now it's time for what are the Steelers going to do with those draft picks they have? I mean, remember they're picking in the middle, and then they also have a technical first rounder that a lot of the rumor mill is swirling about with a certain corner that's for the Los Angeles Rams. We'll find out. We'll see what this team does. And we'll have it all for you on the Renegade Blitz. Going to have someone on the podcast to talk with us next time. We're scheduling out those details as it is. But, it's the off season. So we're going to have fun with it, guys. And any last things before we wrap this up?
Nope.
No.
All right. Then that's all for us on the Renegade Blitz. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll catch you guys next time.
Thank you for listening to the Renegade Blitz podcast. Follow us on Twitter at Renegade Blitz, at @BlitzPod, and at Blitz Videos. And subscribe to our podcast on your favorite podcast app. The Renegade Blitz podcast is available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, and wherever else you can listen to podcasts.